This video is going to go over surface area. We're going to look at 3 different shapes. They're going to be rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, and cubes. So we have our formula chart that we'll be referring to later on the examples. We're going to be in the surface area section. We're going to do lateral, and we're going to do total. I am going to zoom in and write something though on this page. Next to the word lateral, I'm going to make this say sides only. No bases. Lateral means whatever shape the base is, don't include it, just do the sides. And that'll make more sense when we actually get a picture in a minute. And then the other little sheet just has some steps that we'll go through when we get ready to answer a question. Okay, so what is surface area in general? Surface area is just the sum of all the areas on the outside surfaces of a 3D figure. So this represents a rectangular prism or a box. If you start to unfold it, then it's going to lay flat like a piece of paper that's been sectioned off. So they've color coordinated. A rectangular prism is made up of 3 different types of rectangles, and when you unfold them, you can see that there's 2 of each kind that are the same size. I can use the formula to find the surface area of a shape that's in 3D perspective, or if I imagine it all unfolded, I would know to do each one of these separate rectangles and then just double those amounts. Here's another view. This is my 3D perspective. This section that's been grayed out is the base, and when it's unfolded, these 2 little pieces that are sticking out on the sides, these would be the bases. The sides all are connected together. There's 4 pieces that are similar. All this piece that's similar that would go around the sides, the front and the back, those would be all the lateral pieces. Now we have a triangular prism. On a triangular prism, whatever the name is, that tells you which piece is the base. So when you're looking at it through this perspective, a lot of people think the base is whatever is sitting on the bottom. That's not so. If the shape is called triangular prism, then the triangle itself is the base. This shape's just tipped over on its side. When you unfold it, you can see that the bases are sticking out alone, and then there's 3 rectangle pieces that go through the sides that connect it. So a prism always have rectangular sides. And a cube is just 6 different pieces, same size squares. So it doesn't really matter which one of these pieces you pick as the base because they're all the same size. I could just do the area of 1 square and then multiply it by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 the same. Okay, so now we're actually going to look at an example. Again, I have my chart over here. And I have these steps that I'm going to be looking through so I know which formula to choose. The first thing I need to know is what shape do I have and which piece is the base. So in this particular example, the shape that I have is a rectangular prism. So I'm going to write that down. A rectangular prism, I can look in this chart. I found the surface area section, prism. If I want to do lateral, I am just going to do this little formula that says capital PH. If I needed to do the total, I would still do that section, but then I would also add the 2 bases. So my first step is I'm going to do lateral surface area. When you look at the formula, P stands for perimeter of the base. So I know if you're in my class, we had this chart a long time ago. It's on somewhere in your journal. But this capital letter P, I'm going to put down, if you can flip back and find it, you can add it there or just on your sheet. Capital P means perimeter of the base. And the little letter H, that represents height of the prism. Height of the prism. Which is the line that's connecting the two bases. Okay, I always like to go ahead and outline or shade my base. So I'm going to trace over this shape. Now, the numbers aren't written everywhere. This line is 6, so it's going to transfer itself up, and it's also going to be here or here. It doesn't matter where you want to write it. I'm going to add one in for my model. The 12 is also going to carry itself across to here and also to here. And then the other number is the 2. It's going to also transfer itself down to here and across to here. If you don't want to put all these numbers in the different spots, you don't have to. I'm just going to label mine a little bit more. Okay, so my base, I'm going to shade that in so I know which piece I'm talking about when I get ready to do my perimeter. Go ahead and add a 6 in right there too. Okay, so lateral surface area. The formula for lateral surface area is just capital P H. So the perimeter, the base again is this rectangle, 2, 6, 2, 6. I'm going to put all those together. 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 6, which is 16. 8 plus 8 is 16. And then the line that is connecting the base from the top to the bottom, sometimes this is tipped over. This is going to be the height of the prism itself. So now the only thing I would need to do is multiply that times 12. And then 16 times 12 is 192. Now, surface area is always in square units. So my lateral surface would be 192 square feet because this is being measured in feet. So basically what I did real quick right here is I added all these numbers together and then I multiplied them by this, which in turn let me do the surface of each one of these 4 sides, the front, the right, the one in the back, and the one on the left, all at one time. I could do them separately, or I could just do this formula and keep them together. Now, if I need to know the total surface area, my last answer, the parts that I'm missing is the base that I just shaded. So up here, it says add 2 more bases. So the top piece and the bottom piece. Those bases are rectangles. And to do area of a rectangle, you know it's just base times height. So I have 2 of them. And then my numbers were 2 and 6. So 2 times 6 is 12, and then I want 2 of those, so that makes 24. Now, the reason that I just did this separately over here on the side is because I already had this much right here, which was the first part of the formula. And then I do my 2 bases. So I have my 2 bases right here. I'm just going to add these 2 together. To get my total. And that would be 216. And again, it's measured in square feet. Okay, the next prism we're going to do is a triangular prism. And I know it's a triangular prism because there is an actual triangle in it, Prisms have rectangular sides, but a triangular prism has a triangle base. So I'm going to fill in the name. Triangular prism. And then I'm going to be doing lateral surface area. And then I'm going to do the total. So over here, I'm just going to add in the 2 extra bases. So again, looking up here, a prism, no matter what type of prism it is, the lateral surface area formula is capital PH. So that's what I'm going to start with again. For lateral surface area, it's capital PH. And those are going to get multiplied together. I'm going to trace over the base, which is the triangle. I'm going to shade it in just because I like to color. But it also helps me distinguish that this piece is my base, so I can identify what numbers are important when I'm needing to work with just the base. You'll also notice that there is a right angle. The right angle is going to be super important when we get ready to do the area of the base. I'm going to just put that in there. There's my right angle. So those 2 numbers will be important in a second. Again, the formula says capital P, do the perimeter of the base, and then multiply it by the height. Now the other base we can't really see, but this line that's connecting the front to the back, this would be my height of the entire prism. Okay? So the numbers on the triangle are 9 plus 12 plus 15. That makes 36. And then the next step for finding just lateral surface area is multiply it by the height, which we just color-coded and labeled as 6. So 36 times 6. And that will be 216. So my lateral surface area is 216 square inches. Again, what I did was I added up the base, the sides that go around it, all into one number, and then I multiplied it times the height of 6 so that I could get these little rectangles that go around the sides. Now what I'm going to do, if I needed to know the total shape, I would be including the 2 triangle areas themselves. So that's why total adds on and says 2 capital B, base. This base is a triangle. All right, so if I need to do 2 bases, and this one is a triangle is base times height divided by 2. And so the numbers that I was pointing to a second ago, this 9 and 12, those are the ones I want to use over here because they are connecting to form this right angle. This is the base and the height of the triangle. So I'm going to do 9 times 12 divide by 2, but so 9 times 12 is 108 divided by 2. This would make 54, but remember I have 2 bases. So if I needed to do 2 of those, it would just get me back to 108. Now for me to say the total final answer, I would have to put these things together. The lateral faces, the 216, plus 2 bases. So instead of me just saying 2 times 54, I could really just do 108. And then when I did that, I would get 324 for the total surface area. It's in inches, and surface area is always in square units.